What is up, New Beginnings Church? Happy Wednesday morning to you and happy hump day. Let's get you over the hump, though, with some good devotion time. We are in the book of Philippians and really just trying to round out this first chapter. It's been so good. I think it's taking us two weeks just to get through the first chapter of Philippians, and so it's been really good. Yesterday, we talked about that really tweetable, tattooable phrase, to live as Christ, but to die is gain. He was talking about being in prison and not sure how the outcome was going to go. Maybe he'd lose his life. He wasn't really sure. But he just knew this. Well, if I stay here in the body, it's going to be good because I'm going to do the work of Christ in the earth. And if I die, unbelievable gain because I get to go and be in heaven with the presence of Jesus. And so either way, it's kind of a win-win scenario here. And that is how you find joy even in terrible circumstances. But right after he talks about that, he pivots and he says something that caught my attention today. And I want to read it to you. He says this. He goes, whatever happens, whether I live or die, whatever happens, I want you to conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Whew. So he's been all of chapter 1 so far just telling you about his deal. But now he brings you in on it and says, hey, regardless of what happens to me, here's what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on this. Conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Now, when I hear those words, I got to be honest, sometimes I'm going to get a little convicted reading that because I think you're immediately challenged to say, well, wait, am I? Am I really conducting myself? Is all of my actions, my attitudes, my words, how I treat people, is that really in perfect alignment with the gospel of Christ? And is my character, is my conduct, is my integrity in line with and on par with how important the gospel of Jesus is? Because the gospel, it is the most important thing right now. So because of that, I want to make sure that my character, my integrity, my conduct is on par with, hey, this is a big deal. Let me live a life that says, hey, this is a big deal. So if you don't know, here's my kind of working definition of character. Character is your will to do what is right, as God defines right, regardless of the circumstances. And you know what I'm talking about. There's circumstances where I could get away with it. Maybe I wouldn't get caught. I could cut the corner. I could cheat a little here. I could lie a little here. No one would ever know or whatever. But no. Character says, I'm going to do what's right even when it's unpopular. I'm going to do what's right even when it costs me something. I'm going to do what's right regardless of whether I get caught or could get away with it or not. That's not even the point. The point is that God knows, and it's my heart before God and my conscience before God that matters. And so therefore, my conduct needs to be worthy of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I want to be a person of high moral character. The other word that the Bible uses, especially in the book of Proverbs, is the word like integrity. Like that sense of oneness with, this is me, God, the gospel, and it's all in perfect alignment. And so what happens is this: when you decide to become a person of high moral character and follow in what we would call the moral will of God, I got to be honest, that helps you solve most of life's questions when it comes to, God, what do you want me to do, right? As a matter of fact, watch this. Proverbs 11:3 says this. It says, the integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity, meaning they don't have alignment. Like they say this, but they do this, or they say they believe this, but they act like this. They have duplicity, but integrity means there's alignment between what I say, what I believe, and what I do. It's all in perfect alignment. And he goes, the integrity of the upright guides them, meaning most of life's decisions will simply be answered by saying, well, hey, what's the moral will of God? What would be the most integrous and the thing of moral character and moral virtue? That's the answer to what do I do in most any given scenario. And so, anyway, again, the gospel is so important that it guides us in our decisions making. But let me show you one more thing why character and integrity is so important. Is because for you to share the gospel with other people, you know what you need to have? You need to have some level of moral authority. You need to have some level of connection with other people. And this is the way character ends up working. Getting along with people can be very, very difficult, right? Like getting along with your neighbors, your family members, coworkers, there's a lot of friction. It's almost like the way an engine works, right? An engine is a bunch of metal parts moving together and trying to move together. But man, if you don't have any oil in your car, I melted my first vehicle. If you don't know the story, my dad gave me my first vehicle and nobody ever told me that you had to change the oil. So I kind of melted the engine on accident. And so, sorry, Dad, love you. But character becomes the oil that lubricates everything and reduces the friction, right? Because when there's too much friction, there's too much conflict, there's too much heat, things break down, and now you can't actually share the gospel. It's just too much friction. And so your moral character is the oil that lubricates all that stuff. Because what if you're a person that is of the utmost of trustworthiness and dependable, and you just know that that person is exactly who they say they are, and you're an honest person, you always do the right thing. Why? It just removes the vast majority of friction and then gives opportunity for the gospel to be presented. Can I get an amen to that? And so let us be challenged today to be like Paul said, to be living a life in manner worthy of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Can I get an amen to that? Church, I love you guys so much. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.